Hi, we're here again with Chef Rachel, and she's going to tell us today how great apples are and how good they are for us. We're also going to learn how to make a simple apricot apple compote. I think I said that right.
You got it.
Great. So apples. Apples are good for us, we know that. Why are apples good for us?
Well, apples are good for us for several reasons. They're a great source of fiber, they're a great source of vitamins and antioxidants, and there's some research showing that apples are great for reducing the risk of cancer, heart disease, asthma, and stroke. And you've heard the apple a day, right?
Right.
Well, I'm going to show you another way to eat apples besides just eating them plain.
Good.
We're going to make a great dessert. This is an apple corer right here, and an apple corer makes it really easy to get the core out of the apples.
Yes, it
and
does.
you don't have to pull it out in between each apple. All you have to do is press, and then this will just come right out.
That's simple.
So you need 3 to 3.5 pounds of apples, and you might wonder why I'm coring them. It's going to be easier to slice them, and if you do want to peel them, you can put your finger in here like that, and now you can peel the apples without peeling off the layer of skin on your finger. So if the apples are not organic, or if you have sensitive digestion, make sure to peel the apples. So core them, then peel. And then we're just going to cut them into thin slices. So you cut the apples in half, you quarter them, and then do thin slices like this. If you have a food processor, you could put them through a food processor with a slicing blade. And once the apples are sliced, we'll be combining them with dried fruit. Today we're going to use raisins and Turkish dried apricots. So all the sweetness in this recipe is going to come from the dried fruit instead of refined sugar. So that means you satisfy your sweet tooth in a healthy way instead of using something that gives you empty calories.
Right. We talk a lot about that, getting away from the processed stuff and the sugars as well. And this is where we're going to get most of it from, is what you're saying, right?
Right. So the raisins, great source of, again, vitamins and antioxidants. You get some fiber, and they combine really well with the dried apricots. Now we're using Turkish dried apricots today, and they're sweeter than American-grown dried apricots, and you'll see they're very soft, and you might notice that they're a little darker than the dried apricots you're used to seeing. Those are ones that are free of sulfites, sulfur dioxide. Some people are sensitive to sulfites, and they have an allergic reaction. So when you're using dried apricots, and really any dried fruit, whenever possible, buy the ones that are not treated with sulfites. And that way, more people can eat them, and I think they taste better without the sulfites.
Probably.
Yeah, they kind of give a sour taste. Now, when you're using your apple core, make sure you have your knife either toward the back of the board or off the board, just so you have plenty of room and you don't knock the knife.
Remember.
So what you can do right now, if you'll put the raisins in this pot right here. So you need a 3 to 4 quart pot. And you just need 1/3 to 1/2 cup of raisins, and you can decide, depending on how sweet you want it, whether you want 1/3 or 1/2 cup. Now, before you put the dried apricots, what we need to do is the ones that are whole, we need to cut them into bite-sized pieces like that. So if you want to cut those into the whole ones, cut them into little pieces.
Little pieces, about like that?
Yep, about that size.
Right.
And the kitchen shears, I find, are the easiest way to slice dried fruit. I think they work better than a knife. If you use a knife, the dried apricots stick to the knife. So have a pair of scissors in the kitchen.
This whole thing?
Yep, that you use only for dried fruit. You can also use those for other things. And we're going to add our apples in with the raisins and the dried apricots, like that.
Okay, I'm hurrying.
That's okay, you're doing a great job.
Oh, good, thanks.
Next, we're going to add cinnamon. So you need 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, or apple pie spice, or pumpkin pie spice. We'll sprinkle that over the top.
Right.
And
good stuff.
We're going to add 1/2 cup of water. You might not think that's enough water, but more water will come out of the fruit as it cooks. So all you need to do is put the lid on the pot. We're going to bring it to boil. Don't need to stir. Whoop. All right. So once it comes to boil, you're going to turn the heat to medium-low and simmer it for about 20 to 25 minutes until the apples are tender. So while the apples are cooking, I'm going to chop some almonds so they're ready for a garnish, and we'll do that while they're coming to boil.
Okay, sounds like a winner.
These are almonds. I purchased them raw, and then I toasted them in the oven. Toaster oven works really well during hot weather. So all you need to do is put the raw almonds on a baking tray in a 325-degree oven, and you toast them until they just get a little bit dark just barely golden, and they smell kind of fragrant, about 15 minutes.
Where can we get raw almonds?
You can get raw almonds in any natural food store or supermarket. And I find they taste better. They've got a little bit more of a nutty flavor, and they're less bitter if they're toasted. So you could use almonds, walnuts, or pecans for a garnish. And we're just going to chop them coarsely so they'll make a really nice sprinkle on at the end.
And you suggest raw almonds, walnuts, or pecans, and then you're roasting yourself, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So stay close, set a timer, because you don't want to overcook the nuts. If you over roast them and they get bitter, you're going to need to toss them out and then start over.
Well, that's no fun. Waste.
Right. You don't want that.
Okay. And we're using this for what? A garnish?
This is just a garnish at the
Okay.
end. It adds a little bit of a crunch, and then there are a lot of really great things in the nuts, heart-healthy fats.
Oh, yes.
And they just make a great complement to the fruit.
We've talked about that a few times, too. So
So you get a lot of monounsaturated fats with the almonds, for example. And once you've chopped the nuts, you can just put them in a little bowl or in a jar in the refrigerator. And then they're ready to sprinkle on whatever you like.
Okay, and chopping like that comes with practice, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not that good at it.
Yeah, just practice.
There we
All
go.
right. So while we're waiting for the apples, we'll set a timer. So
Okay.
again, we're going to bring it to boil, turn the heat down, and simmer it for about 20 to 25 minutes until the apples are nice and tender. And there's no need to stir at all while they're cooking. So we'll come back and check on the apples in just a little bit. All right, so let's turn that
I
down.
hear it boiling. I know a watch pot never boils. It's true.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Turn it the right way.
that's it.
All right,
Perfect.
so we'll come
So
back.
we'll
in a
come
little
back to
bit.
that. We'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so this is done now?
Yep. Let's take
All
the lid
right,
off.
let's look at this.
Now,
Oh,
what we're
it
going to do is
smells
give it
good.
a stir.
Okay.
And if there's much liquid, and there isn't, but if we had a lot more liquid in the bottom of the pan, what we would do is we would add the water to the arrowroot, mix it, and then stir to thicken. But in some
Arrowroot.
cases, we don't need the arrowroot. It's like
Arrowroot.
cornstarch, but it's less refined.
Thickener.
It's a thickener.
Absolutely. Arrowroot, where would you get that?
You
Never
can
heard
get
of
it
it.
in natural food stores, either in
Okay.
the bulk section or the baking aisle.
All right.
And it's just a great alternative to cornstarch because some people are allergic to corn.
Good idea.
So what we're going to do is taste it, and if it needs a little more sweetness, we'll add just a little bit of stevia. So that's for you to taste,
Me first.
and I will taste some as well.
There you go again.
The worst that could happen is you get
I would like
more
it.
nutrients coming into your
This is
body.
true. Fiber and everything else. That's good. That is very, very good. Now how we do this?
Do you think
That's
it
a
needs little more
presentation, I
sweetener?
guess. Oh
Or do you
no,
think it's okay?
that's perfect.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to scrape
Wow.
it into the bowl here.
I want some more.
You get a whole bowl full.
Okay, cool.
All right, so if you want to lift up that side of the pan, right here.
Okay.
Okay, let's lift this over here. And
Turn it out like that. Oh, I see what
There
you're
we go.
doing.
get it all in here. So, great alternative. Oh, hold that spoon back. Great alternative to apple pie without the crust. Easy to make. You can serve
I have
it
it.
warm, or you could serve it cold. And it could be dessert. It could be a side dish at breakfast. It could be a snack. So,
That'd be a very good breakfast. Very good.
great topping would be a little bit of chopped toasted almonds, walnuts, or pecans. So we've got your
Raw
serving right here
that
that you toast.
you toast yourself.
So we'll just put a little bit of this on top. And this is just a little
A teaser.
a teaser to whet your appetite, but you could have a larger serving. Once you've made this,
great.
and once it's cooled, you could store it in pint or quart jars or glass bowls with lids in the refrigerator, and then just plan to use it up within about 3 to 5 days. If you don't think you'll use it up in that amount of time, you could put it in containers that are freezer proof and store some in the freezer, and then pull it out for healthy convenience food.
It's very good. Easy to make. Healthy. This is good.
All right.
We don't have to use the stevia either.
Nope.
This is
That's
great.
just an optional thing, just like the arrowroot. If it needs a little sweetener, add the stevia. If it needs a little thickening, then use the arrowroot and water. But otherwise, it's good to go.
Okay, well, I think the crew's out back there and they're drooling over this, so we'll put this on there for them and we'll give it to them. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna eat some more of this. This is very good.